Ako styling, kahana pali styling, hana styling, wayehu styling, Maria styling, Keanai styling, Maui styling, don't let me down, 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 Maui styling, Maui styling, don't stop me now, Maui styling. Start a beautiful day. Will we go west side? Kind of a long drive. Think we're gonna stay right here in Kihei. In Kihei, islands on the ocean. There we will spend our sunny days. Beaches in reach. We're sailing the South Shore down at the Cove Park, watching the whales. We're poolside with some of our friends. At the oasis, the fun never ends. It's the island rhythm, this side of Maui. Look at the moonlight shining so bright. In Kihei, islands on the ocean, there we will spend our sunny days. Beaches in reach, we're sailing the South Shore down at the Cove Park, watching the whales. Blue skies today, blue skies in Kihei. Here comes the trade winds blowing away all of the troubles you're feeling today. In Kihei, in Kihei, islands on the ocean, there we will spend our sunny days. The beaches in reach, we're sailing the South Shore down at the Cove Park, watching the whales. Look at the people having a good time. They get the rhythm when they hear Marty Dread. It's the sensation sweeping the nation. Yes, it began right here in Kihei. In Kihei, islands on the ocean, there we will spend our sunny days. The beaches in reach, we're sailing the South Shore down at the Cove Park, watching the whales. Blue skies today, blue skies in Kihei. Here comes the trade winds blowing away all of the troubles you're feeling today. In Kihei, in Kihei.
Well, at least she didn't call me Airielle.
Aloha, I'm Airielle, your co-hostess for Mama Presents. And Mama has the great pleasure of presenting a really outrageous lady to you. Her name is Lynne Conwell, and she is a wonderful friend of mine, and she's visiting us here on Maui. She's on her way to Paris and to Bali, and she's a teacher and a workshop facilitator. She has worked on many different levels for many different years. She was one of the co-founders of the NLP Institutes in San Francisco. She was the founder of the NLP Institute in Washington, D.C., and she was one of the first people to work with the founders of NLP. For the past 8 years, she's basically been on a spiritual journey, and at this point in her life, she's got tremendous wisdom and ability to incorporate these two Western and Indian philosophies and to offer people a very unique experience. I'd like to welcome her and give her to you and let her tell you a little bit about what she's going to be teaching in Paris and in Bali. That way you can get an idea of what she's all about. So welcome, Lynne. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Airielle. And before I start, I'd like to say it's my great pleasure to be here on this island and with its people. It certainly is a place I dream about living myself. As I hop around the country, I always hold Maui as very sacred to me, and it's so beautiful. Gosh, Airielle, as I hear you talk about all of the activities I've done in NLP, I just don't feel that I could be that old.
You sure know what you mean. Really. You don't look it either.
Oh, thank you. She says that because she's a true friend. As far as what I'm doing currently, it's very much taken the Western philosophy of NLP, which really isn't anything new under the sun. It really had the brilliance to skim the top and the best of all the other disciplines and have it come together in such a way as that it could offer everything. Well, in New York, which is where I'm going to stop on my way to Paris, I'm going to be reviewing a workshop that I've put together in the last 2 years on emotions. It's called The Heart of Emotions. And then when I get to Paris, we'll have a 2-day workshop on that, and then I'll be teaching neuro-linguistic programming there. And what I find is in the last couple of years, first of all, let me tell you, for 9 years I did nothing but drink, sleep, talk, walk, NLP. And then for the last 8 years, I've kind of disappeared from the world and studied more of the Eastern ways and philosophies. And now I'm blending those two worlds, and I feel so much more involved in my teaching, in my life, with that complement.
It's really a great thing that you can combine these Eastern and Western philosophies and offer them to people in the way that you do.
Well, thank you. I feel that as a Westerner, you and I weren't born in a cave, so obviously we're to be out here in the world. However, the Western way, even NLP, which is a highly technical, or at least it's known for a highly technical approach to learning and to behavior, I feel really needed more nourishment of the heart in the wisdom from forever ago, which is where the Eastern philosophies came in quite dramatically to give a depth to both myself, my teaching, and also the wisdom of neuro-linguistic programming and the other techniques that I blend in.
Well, I really do understand that because I've had that experience myself. And Lynne also does healing work in a form of Apsushanka, which she's been studying now for many years, as well as myself. And so it's just an incredible talent to be able to blend these worlds that can be brought together with someone who has such a brilliant mind as yourself, an ability to do that, and someone who has such a passion for God as well.
Well, I do have a passion for God. The brilliant mind comes and it goes in the human condition.
Yes, it certainly does. So please tell us, give us a little bit more about what you're going to be doing in Bali. I'm very excited about that trip. I've always wanted to go to Bali, and I understand it's so beautiful.
I know you have. Actually, I was afraid to tell you because when I first met Airielle, she was on her way to Bali, and 8 years later, she still has not made it. I'm very excited about Bali. As you know, it's very Hindu, and we are teaching neuro-linguistic programming there, which allows me for the first time to be able to introduce more of that Eastern philosophy. How that breaks down on a more practical level is, well, first let me give you a little description of neuro-linguistic programming.
Right, I was just going to say, so I think you should tell them what neuro-linguistic programming is. I have trouble saying those words.
Basically, it's a very fancy phrase for something that's quite simple. The founders of NLP have the talent to be able to look to research, to read, and to go and video, actually, the people who are on the leading edge of their professions with great talents at being able to provoke change, to provoke inspiration in people. And they gathered all this information together and started seeing what patterns were there in these different people that made them so talented. And then they were hungry. They wanted those talents. So they developed a technology in which they could elicit talents from people and then install those talents in themselves.
Oh, I like that idea. Let's get more talent.
So it was basically a modeler's technology. Actually, even more simplified, NLP lets us know what we as human beings have, what equipment we have in order to make our way in this world, in order to understand, to connect, to have relationships, and to be able to have our dreams come true. Therefore, it also recognized, out of the incredible potential we have, how little we're making of that potential. And when we start to see what we could do and what we are doing, then the only thing that has to happen are the skills and the tools and the technology that will allow us to be able to adapt those dreams into reality.
That sounds really exciting. But how could that really work? You know, I mean, how do we know how to do that for ourselves and how to change it? I mean, are there types or?
Right. With some examples. I want to say something very practical. So even just listening, you'll have something that you can use immediately. It's as though NLP were a huge tool shed of all the things that we have available for us, and it points them out in a way of patterning. It teaches you how to pattern, to not only be in your life from moment to moment in process, but to be able to step out and start being a witness to your ongoing experience. You're still involved in it, you're still associated, but you now have a part of you that has the huge picture of your behavior and its responses to people, so that if something is not going the way you want it, you can then change it. Now, patterning, how is patterning important? How is it effective? How does it help build a witness? Let me give you an example. If you talk to someone, as Airielle and I are talking, you'll notice that our eyes move from place to place as we're talking. And they may look random for someone who hasn't a pattern of eye movement. Now, let me just very quickly explain. When the eyes go up, what we have found out is people are making pictures inside their head.
Whoa.
Unless they're looking at the ceiling. But when their eyes go up, they're seeing pictures either from their past or making up pictures or storing in pictures.
So up is vision.
Up is vision, that's it. Now from the right to the left is sound, talking, auditory, music. And when you see somebody's eyes going one way or the other, or both ways, then you get a clue that what they're doing inside is listening.
So is sound one way, or they're both sound?
They're both sound. Someone could be listening to sound, music, lyrics, talking, or all the like the sound of the waves.
Sounds pretty.
Now, there's another addition to the hints you can get from someone speaking in their head, and that is if their eyes go down to the left. And that means they're talking to themselves, like the top dog and bottom dog. Gee, I wish it were cooler in here. Well, it's cool enough. Just sit there and be comfortable. Those kind of little chatters can go on. And then the last one is when the eyes go down to the right, they're in their feelings. So now what seemed absolutely random before has an order to it. By patterning the eyes, you can now know that visual is going on. Auditory, kinesthetic. I'm feeling something. I'm saying something to myself. Or here, also. I could be remembering what I said in my last interview or what Airielle said to me over the phone today. So now you have a way of taking all these random movements and being able to use them in a communication to know what somebody else is doing in any one moment in time within their internal process. This is a very baby little example.
Boy,
of
that's
it.
really a lot, though. I mean, if you've got just those little tools and you can tell so much if you really understood that. I mean, I've never studied this, as you know, and you've shared a little bit with me, but that amazes me when I really get, every time I hear it, that you can really get so much. And I've watched you do some pretty simple little things with people that maybe you could give us an experience of. So aren't there types as well, Lynne? I mean, I remember you talked to me about there were different types or different kinds of people.
You mean the major sorting patterns, I think, is
Right,
what
okay.
you're referring to. What we have noticed over the last decade, really, is that when people sort through their world, there are 5 different categories, and that basically is it. And each person seems to take one as their primary, and maybe they have 2. More sophisticated ones of us may have 3.
That's not very many. We're pretty simple, huh?
As I said before, the amount of our human potential that we're using is very tiny. So getting back to these sorting patterns, I'd like to talk about 2 of them. We have people sort by place, by activity, by information, by person, and I've forgotten the last one. No, that's person, place, information, activity, and things. The one that so many people don't understand how anyone could sort for. And most of the time, I think it's fairly easy. I'd like to give you an example of 2 of them, however. Let's say you have a man and a woman and they're in a relationship. One of them sorts for people, and the other one sorts for activity. So what does that mean? If you were to ask them about their day, the person who sort for person would probably sound something like this. My day was incredible. I met Jason at 8 o'clock. He took me to lunch. He was in the greatest mood. And an old friend came in of his that he had gone to college with, and they sat down for hours and on and on and on. She would talk about the person, others, herself, how they're feeling, what they look like, anything that had to do with people. Her boyfriend, if you asked him how his day was, it may sound something, yep, you got it, like this. Well, we got up, and I wanted to go for a run, so I looked down, my sneakers were there, and I was off. I love running. I just love the experience in my body. I love the way the air moves, and then I had to be on my way because I was going to a class, and we were learning the final piece on this important lawsuit I've been working on. Later on that night, we were going to get a group of friends and go out to dinner, and then we were going to go back to the house, and I was going to get in another hour of exercise.
Whoa, this guy must be in really good shape.
He's in really good shape, except for when it comes to her feeling he cares about her. He doesn't focus on or perceive her importance on asking her how she feels, how her day was, whom did she meet. And since that's what's important to her, she feels misunderstood. He feels she's too emotional, too interested in people, too focused on what others want. Where with him, people aren't something, at least in this first example, his primary sort, people are not basically important to his focus, except if he's doing an activity with them. So he may have good friends, but the friends are only in relationship to the activity. Like he may see Harry only once a year when they go skiing, and John when they go fishing.
So how would it help them? How would it help them to know that that he is this activity sorter and she's this people sorter?
Well, first of all, when we get to widening that human potential, each one of us can sort all those ways. We can have flexibility in our behavior, and the greater the flexibility, the greater influence, the greater power, and the greater depth of experience an individual can have. So first of all, they can recognize what's important to each other, become more conscious of that, and also to become wider in their scope of ability to elicit the responses they want from themselves and from other people by putting on and incorporating within them another whole realm that has been dormant in each of their experiences.
Well, that would be some pretty valuable information. It sounds like it might even save a relationship. I've certainly felt that way because I'm one of those people-feeling kind of people.
Is one of those people.
And I know I haven't been able to understand when they don't understand why people are important to me.